What's up guys, I'm Sean. Today I'm going to be replacing my oil filter housing gasket on my 2004 BMW E46 M3. I already removed the accessory pulley belt and I already removed my intake, and also I'm about to remove my alternator. I made a few DIY videos, so if you haven't seen that yet, check it out. I also already drained the oil. So now I'm going to remove the alternator so we can get to the oil filter housing. The alternator's out. Now I'm going to remove the power steering pulley down there. It's a 13mm. Now that the power steering pulley has been removed, I've removed the two 13s right here. I already broke it loose, so it's a lot easier. I just loosened the 6 13mm bolts. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's one back there that you can't really see. But before you can get to that bolt back there, we have to remove this hex right here to move this oil cooler line. I think the O-ring probably just fell off. Have to replace the O-ring. Now I can get to that 13mm bolt back there. Alright, the 6 bolts are loose, and I think all the bolts are different lengths, so you have to remember where they go. Now there's a connector right there you have to unplug. I just removed the 6 bolts and I put into this piece of cardboard so I can remember where it goes. And again, they're all different lengths. I'm going to remove this 13mm bolt back here. It's a bracket that holds the oil cooler lines. There's actually 2 13mm bolts, one right there and one down there, so I can at least move this bracket. Once you loosen the bottom 13mm right here, now the power steering pump loosens and drops down, and we have more clearance. Alright, everything's going to come out now. I'll just move the oil out a little bit and just wiggle this out. Make sure you have a tray underneath because the oil is going to spill everywhere. Alright, the whole thing's out. And you don't have to remove this, which is cool. Here's a close-up of my oil filter gasket. There's a little crack right there. See that? And my gasket is super hard and brittle right now. And I think over time, it gets really brittle. So that's why it's good to replace this if you have some leaks. And I'm going to clean this area up all around here. Here's my oil filter gasket that I'm going to replace. The gasket's only like $5 or $6, so it's pretty cheap. And I replaced this sensor right here while this is out. My oil sensor is working right now, but it's a good time to replace this since it's already out. It's easily accessible. And then also, it's a good time to buy 2 new O-rings right here. I'll put the part number in the description. Here are my parts. New oil filter gasket, 2 new oil cooler O-rings, and the new oil pressure switch. Mine still works, but it's kind of a hassle to remove this, so I might as well just change it as preventative maintenance. So it's a 24 right here. This, and the new one comes with an O-ring. This is the new one. I'm going to tighten it snug for my ratchet. Now is a good time to clean inside the oil filter housing. I kind of cleaned the outside as best I could. And then I cleaned back here. It's all the new oil filter housing gasket. Make sure that it's flush. And now when we go install this into the engine, make sure that it doesn't pop out. New oil filter housing gaskets on. New oil pressure switch is on. Now let's go install this back into the engine. On the engine block, there's a couple of dowel pins right there and down here where the oil filter housing sits on. So it should go in nice and smooth. And I'm going to hold on to the back of the oil filter gasket while I slowly wiggle it in here. Sits in like that. On my bolts right here, I'm going to slowly put them back. I'm tying the 6 bolts to 16 foot-pounds. Now I'm going to replace the 2 O-rings that are on the oil cooler line. Slide these 2 off. And slide on the new one. Reinstall the oil lines for the oil cooler. I don't know what the torque specs for these are, but it just has to go in nice and smooth and flush and just snug it up. I just have to install the 2 long bolts that holds the power steering pump. Alright, those long bolts are in. Reinstall the 2 bolts that hold the oil cooler lines. Alright guys, everything done. New oil filter housing gasket installed on my E46 M3. Now I just have to add the oil filter, add engine oil, and put everything back together. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.